So now we've talked about building foundation.
Yeah.
We've talked about our why. Why am I doing this? We've talked about ethics, and now we need to talk about vision. Because you have a grand vision, at least one that I believe that I see at least parts of it, right? And so you've gone from New York, where you can continue to do transactions and make tons of money,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then you have this vision, this epiphany that says, I need to lift people up and give them hope. And I can do that through what I know about business, about real estate. And so you found this place, Elephant Butte, New Mexico, and you found properties, and you found this resort, Turtleback Mountain Golf and Resort, and you're creating jobs, and you're building homes, and you're doing all these great things. That had to come from not just, hey, let's go buy a whole bunch of land and develop it in New Mexico. It had to come from something else.
Yeah.
What was that vision, or what is that vision?
So part of the vision is what prompts the action. And we saw that legislatively and just from a personal experience, it wasn't as fun anymore back east to do deals. And that becomes more and more important as you get older, I think.
Sure.
So the vision was in the business piece to deploy the things I've learned over all of these years, approach it with this new me that I've been working on for years, and impact people's lives, give them hope, give them an opportunity for something better.
Beyond that, which is an amazing thing to learn, and take it from the guy who's gone to the School of Hard Knocks, right, is to say that leads to something bigger, which is youth. We just don't want people to think that this is, or do you want people to think that this is something for kids?
No,
it's not.
The ultimate vision
Mm-hmm.
is to start young, right? The things that we teach in the academy can change lives up and down the spectrum. I mean, you could have nothing to even do with real estate. That's why I was adamant about this piece first. I was the broken foundation with all the systems, and I was effective in that small world, but I was miserable. I was making everybody else around me miserable. And what kind of legacy is that?
Yeah.
Right? You know, that's not something that I'm particularly proud of even at this point. So the idea is to impart, really, if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you are a major REIT investing in shopping center packages, I teach the systems of what's worked for me and how to execute. I very much pull in this holistic approach that I have, the macro, micro, and site. And that vision is part of what fed all of this. But ultimately, we hope that we're not only changing lives from the kid to the senior today, but tomorrow, ultimately, I hope that there are enough components of this. And I think we're entering a time where maybe there's pathways here. That's some of the things that you feel when you have vision. You can't quite connect the line yet, but you've seen some dashes where if we can get curriculum at the state level and start teaching these things to kids, we start to shorten that 300-yard gap or 200-yard gap in the 100-yard dash. That's the ultimate for me.
Yeah.
Down the road, if we can get to a place where some of this is adopted or none of this is adopted, it's a completely different type of curriculum that's adopted to teach kids some of the things that they'll be able to really win in life. It starts with the foundation. And this was a really important piece for me to talk about the backstory, but of course the things that I'm doing regularly that have helped me, right? I'm not preachy, I'm not that guy, but it's worked for me. And I think that it's easier to identify with a guy that came up and had no formal education and all the other things that have been a part of my past than it is for the perfectly curated suit in Instagram living a life that's not real, right? There was a time when that was very popular. but they have shelf lives. Like, this is real. This is me. It's been me. It's going to be me. And I don't apologize for it.
Well, hopefully the people who are watching this understand the things that you're trying to share. I think they will, and I think that they'll be able to identify with the things that you're saying, the life experiences that you've had, to take them through the academy and learn all aspects of real estate, but learn about business, and most importantly, learn about themselves.
Yeah, it's a process, but there is a roadmap. There really is a roadmap. For everyone, it's different, but for me, some of the things that I rely on heavily are my declarations, right? You find your why is the first part, then you find your gift. And there's many resources that we reference in the Resource Center about finding your why. The Pro-D assessment, that was the name of it, that taught me, oh, your gift is vision, your gift is strategic thinking, your gift is leadership. I didn't even know I had a gift, right? Why? Vision. Now what? Now you've got to start taking the steps to reinforce and manifest and believe. It's not one day I'm going to be, it's I am a compassionate, brilliant deal maker that can accomplish anything. I am an educator. I am a leader. And there's, again, so many wonderful resources available today, but we wanted to point to people, and we give examples of my daily declarations. Every day I wake up and I write out, sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 10, because it evolves, things of who I am. And if you put out in the world the positivity, you become that positivity, right? The law of attraction. If you put out negativity, you become the negativity, even if it's in a joking way, in the self-deprecating humor. Guys are famous for this, right? We do it all the time we've done it.
Yeah.
And I'm super conscious about it now. I don't joke about those negative things because somewhere in the subconscious, it's cooking. So now it's positive, and I am the things that I believe I am. And when you start doing that, your circle changes, your influences change. It's very easy to be the smartest guy in the room. It's very hard to be one of the less experienced, or one of the, I don't want to say the dumbest guys in the room because then we're talking negatively, right? But to be the person in the room where you have a bit of awe of everyone in there, like, that's the room you need to get in. If you're not in those rooms and that's not your circle, there's that famous expression, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
So true. So real. So I get up, I write my declarations every day. I have a few quotes that I read that are profound for me. And I manifest at night. Close your eyes and you vision what this will become, what the place will become. And it happens. It's hard to explain, but it's real. It is very, very real. So we give examples of the declaration sheets and how to manifest. We give examples of vision boards. It's real stuff. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have laughed you out of the room. I would have said, none of that's real. It's hokey. It's nonsense. It's BS. You know, Mr. Tough Guy. It's real.
I did an interview once with a playwright named August Wilson. He was a guy who had like a 5th grade education. And he has 5 Pulitzer Prizes. And he's an African-American man, grew up in the deep South in the height of civil unrest in the United States. And I asked him how he did it. How did you do it with all the things going against you? How did you do it? And he said, Patrick, you just need to have a belief in yourself that is greater than anyone's disbelief. And that has stuck with me for 35 years.
That's incredibly profound, but equally as difficult to understand when you're in difficult circumstances. Right?
Yeah.
So our messaging, we talked about technology and social media, when we're constantly messaging the negative and we're constantly telling people you can't and you won't and the system's against you, whether the intentions are pure or not, you're manifesting for them negativity.
Right.
Then that's a cycle that we have to break. It is the single most important fundamental is belief in yourself and kind of blocking out that noise. And all of this stuff translates directly into real estate when you're doing deals and you're hearing the different things and you're listening to experts. There's a way to sort through that and understand your source and not rail against it, because that's negativity, but understand, hopefully this is best intended, but it's not for me. I'm better than that. I'm better than this. I can do better, and I will. Right? It becomes an I will, and off you go. You know, we have even task sheets that I use where at this point I still need to be reminded every day, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? I'm a paper guy, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I print them out and I carry my papers around, but it feels good. It's a sense of accomplishment, right? I got this done. I got this done. I did my decks. I manifested. I took care of the, you know, I cleared my CRM. That's a work one, but it keeps you honest. And it's not, again, it's so important for me for people to understand, if you start doing these things, it's not if you fall off or if you miss days. You will, and you won't get everything done, and that's okay. I think it's essential. It's part of the process, right? The failure, again, the sports reference, but Jordan talks about this, and I think there's a commercial about it now. I missed, 30 shots when the game was on the line, all these things that he's failed in, and that is why I have succeeded. You have to fail, and it's okay. It's essential because it's not really a failure. It's what you assign in the moment. I relate to more of the aggressive personalities, the Jockos of the world, and the Goggins and the Rogans. That's not for everybody. But Jocko famously talks about, you lost your job? Good. You failed the test? Good. Find a way to assign value for yourself to that event to be better. Next time, you'll study harder. If you lost the job, there's a reason for it. Next job will be a better job. Everything's neutral, man. It really is. It's the value you assign to it, and I know it is hard to understand that in the moment. But the better you get at these pieces and the more strength you have in that foundation, then the systems that we teach on the day-to-day things, it's rocket fuel. It really is.